Good afternoon, fellow artists. Today we are going to be diving into a new lesson called Soft Sculpture Food for Thought. So, some of the materials we will be using, just to let you know ahead of time, are going to be paper, scissors, glue or staples, and paint. So, we will be painting as well as using paper to create a nice sculpture. So, let's go ahead and get right into this. Again, the name of this project is Soft Sculpture Food for Thought. And we are still looking at the whole idea of pop art. Soft sculpture was becoming a huge thing back when pop art was booming, such as in the 1960s. One of the famous artists of this time for the sculptures was named Claes Oldenburg. So, some of the goals that we are trying to hit this time around are going to be at the end of this project, you'll be able to create a goal to reach in the project making process. So you'll be able to set goals as you are sculpting away to make your soft sculpture. The other one is you're going to challenge yourself in experimenting and taking risks to create a soft sculpture. I know most of the times we expect for our artwork to be phenomenal, fantastic, breathtaking, but there are just some times in the art world where you have to learn to experiment to make things work. Now, is it going to be successful all the time? No, but you will learn in the process of experimenting and taking risks what works and what really does not work. So, those are our two goals we will be hitting for this project. Some of the vocabulary we will learn along the way are going to be soft sculpture, scale, larger than life, and texture that is both implied and actual. So, what is a soft sculpture, you may ask? A soft sculpture is a type of 3D artwork made using cloth, foam, rubber, plastic, paper, fibers such as fabric, yarn, string, and similar materials that are supple and non rigid, meaning that they are flowy. They're not hard like concrete or rock or wood, so therefore they are soft sculptures. They can also be made out of natural materials if you combine them to make a non rigid object. So, again, something that's not completely hard like wood or rock or clay or any of that. Pop art sculptures, Claes Oldenburg. Now, my favorite thing about this artist is that specifically Oldenburg took things that were an ordinary part of life, such as food or materials we may use every day, and he created these sculptures made out of weird fabrics and rubbers and almost made them look like they were melting in a way. So on the left-hand side, you'll see here this weird object here. Right away, right off the bat, I was able to tell that that was a toilet made out of this kind of vinyl or shiny fabric. So that was one of Oldenburg's works. This right here in the center is a violin. Notice that the way it is put together, it almost looks like it is melting because of the material that was used. Again, this is a soft sculpture, so it doesn't just sit there rigid or still like a normal violin would do. This violin in particular looks like it's melting, especially the way it's been hung. And then on the right-hand side here, we have a very ordinary object that we probably don't even think of in everyday life. We have a neon orange light switch, and Oldenburg played with scale when it came to his soft sculpture. Now, what is scale, you may ask? And I will show you an example here in the next slide. Scale is the size of your artwork. So is it large or is it small? Now, Oldenburg liked to play with the idea of scaling his ordinary objects to a larger than life size. Larger than life means that it is larger than the actual object that you normally see. So, food for thought. Here on the left-hand side, we have another one of Oldenburg's artworks. We have half a dozen donuts in a box. The box, as you can tell, is made out of fabric, and the donuts in the center are also made of fabric. They have been made to where they even include icing on top, and they have an actual hole in the middle. These are also larger than life, so they're not just the handheld sized donuts. These are possibly bigger than your head. A couple of other examples here we have on the left-hand side. As we jump into our project, we're going to be thinking about our favorite foods or maybe our junk food, snacks, any of those things that we would like to try to replicate in a soft sculpture manner. Notice that these fries with ketchup are very playful. You don't normally see ketchup sitting on top of the fries that way, but this is how it looks with a soft sculpture with the fabric laying on top of your fries. The plate is also made with soft fabric. We have a piece of what looks like chocolate pie, also made out of fabric. Now here's an example of larger than life scale for a soft sculpture. Notice the people in the background. They appear much smaller than the hamburger or type of sandwich we have in front of us. Notice the textures that are being used to create, say, the pickle versus the bun. Or what about the meat in between the buns? What is the difference in texture with that? How was that created? Did the artist use fabric, paper? Did they use paper mache? Or is this just something that's stuffed like a beanbag? Did they use paint to replicate some of those textures? Now, here comes the challenge. Sculptors are challenged to create a larger than life version of their favorite food/snack. Tap into your inner Oldenburg to sculpt food with paper that transforms into a soft and decadent artwork. So you will be choosing your favorite food. Try to avoid choosing something that you think will be easy to make, as that will make for a very uninteresting piece of artwork, as well as it will lose your interest in the process. Here's a couple of examples of what we're trying to reach. We have paper made sculptures here. And I will include an example of my unfinished work as well. Requirements for the sculpture, I will be including a rubric this time around for our project. You'll need a larger than life size sculpture that's at least 3 times larger than the original food. Your sculpture will also need to be stuffed, whether that's with stuffing, paper, old fabric, whatever you are going to use to put inside. And I will have a tutorial set up for you soon enough for that as well. We will need a painting used for some implied texture. So you'll be doing some painting along the way. You will also use implied and actual texture with paper to really make this look like real food. I'll also be looking at craftsmanship as well as the time and effort that you put into this project. Materials, again, that we will be using. These are some of the things that you might keep in mind if you are creating from home. We have paper, scrap paper, plastic. We have pencil with eraser, rulers, scissors, paint, brushes, water cups, paper towels, staples, glue, tape, yarn string, anything that you think you'll need to create this soft sculpture. Time to brainstorm. Just grab a piece of paper and list 5 of your top favorite foods. All right, so as you are doing that, we're going to start sketching and planning. From those top 5 favorite foods, choose one that you think you can replicate into a soft sculpture. You're going to draw that one favorite food in pencil. You will also, once you are done drawing, add color to your drawing so you know what this will possibly look like as a 3D sculpture. Also consider What kind of textures need to be replicated? If you're going to have a pickle, how many bumps are you going to have in it? How are you going to draw the stripes? If you have a piece of pizza, how are you going to do the cheese versus the pepperoni versus the mushrooms, whatever kind of topping you like on that? And also, last but not least, how much larger will your replicate food be? So if you have maybe a roll of sushi, how much larger does 3 times its size is that going to look like? Well, that's all I have for you today. I hope you have a wonderful time sketching up these ideas. Be sure to share them with me on the Google Classroom. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me with your concerns or your questions. Other than that, I hope you have a fun time creating, and I hope you really dive into this food for thought soft sculpture. Thank you very much and have a wonderful time.